Season 41, war number 7, and we are up against Nat. This time around my team will be Tigra, Absorbing Man, and Omega Sentinel. I have 9 fights, and a couple of them are with Absorbing Man, who I'm still kinda trying to figure out how to best use him, but I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. I'm on path 1 in section 1, and I'm also taking that Man Thing, Nick Fury, and Nova. And then I'm on path 6 in section 2, I'm taking the Apoc and Rintrah there as well, and finally I'm taking that Longshot mini-boss on the left side. Omega Sentinel is on the team to handle basically just that Longshot, but she does have a couple other fights as well, including this first one here. So up first we have a Toad on the Masochism Overtime node, and I'm taking this fight with Omega Sentinel, starting with the heal block debuff mode active. I do also have Odin's Aptitude pre-fight here for me, to make Omega Sentinel even more tanky with those armor up buffs for the rest of her fights. It's not needed, but since it was available, we went with that. The game plan here is to just shut down the regen completely with the heal block debuffs, and then I'm just gonna get them a special to trigger Masochism so that he can't shrug off the plasma debuffs, and then just throw the special 2 with all the heal block debuffs and all those prowesses. He gets 9 plasmas and he just melts. Toad is a very good matchup for Omega Sentinel, and one of the reasons why is because Omega Sentinel is not immune to poison, so the passive stun is not a problem that you would normally have to deal with if you used an immune champion. Then we have a Man Thing on the Masochism Overtime and Strike Counter Fury node, and I'm taking this fight with Tigra. The game plan here is pretty simple. I'm just gonna corner him and then bait special 1s, punish them with my heavy attack, drop big special 2s to just nuke this guy down. I'm basically ignoring the Masochism node as well as the Strike Counter node. The Fury passives don't really do anything here. Normally they would increase the poison damage that Man Thing deals, but since Neutralize also prevents Man Thing from triggering his buffs on you with his specials or by nullifying buffs, there is no poison to worry about at all. So Tigra is one of the better counters for that, for sure. Then we have a Nick Fury on the Hazard Shift Shock and Bleed with Aggression Prowess, and I'm taking this fight with Absorbing Man, starting in the Magma form. I do also have White Magneto pre-fight, as well as Odin's Protection and Shock Resistance here for me. But once again, those are not necessary, they just help, and they are a good safety net as well. So the basic idea here is that Absorbing Man is immune to Incinerate in the Magma form, and he also gets very high energy resistance, meaning that the Hazard Shift node here doesn't do anything. Now I do also have the Shock Resistance pre-fight here, making those shocks even weaker, but they are not needed to be able to take this fight. Now, other than that, this fight is very simple. All I need to do is just spam my special 2s, make sure that the flourish buffs don't get too out of hand here, and then just bait special 2s preferably. Special 1s are fine as well, but since they deal physical damage, at least to my knowledge, if those prowesses stack up and I have to block a bunch of special 1s or have to eat unblockable ones, it's gonna hurt. So preferably baiting special 2s. And that's basically all there is to this fight. It does take a bit longer since I'm not doing the heavy chain into a special 2, which I should have been doing, but like I said, I'm still trying to figure out how to best play this guy. And I wasn't really feeling too confident since this is, or rather he is still pretty new to me. Now he's pretty stingy here with his specials, so the prowesses stack up, but again, as long as I don't eat a special, that's not gonna be a problem. He's just melting from the Incinerates, the energy bursts, and the specials as well. And down he goes. Absorbing Man is still at over 90%. Didn't even take 2 minutes to take this guy down. Still, could have been better. Now, the more I use Absorbing Man, the more I'm starting to like him. He's just very good in many different situations, and the fact that you can choose which damage type you deal and what you are resistant to, I find that very valuable for a champion. Anyways, next up we have a Nova on the Scared Stiff node with also Power Focus 2, and I'm taking this fight with Tigra. I normally don't like fighting Nova with her, but we kinda had to do that for this war. Technically I could have used Absorbing Man as well, but I am more comfortable with Tigra at this point. So, like usual for Tigra nuke fights, I'm just gonna use an advanced power boost to start with a power, then I'm baiting and punishing 2 heavy attacks with my heavy to get my special 2, then throwing it to nuke the opponent down, but Nova reduces the damage on unblockable attacks by, I believe, 70%, so Tigra's damage output is quite heavily reduced on her specials. That being said, he went down with 2 special 2s, which is still pretty good. Next up we have an Apocalypse on the Power Snack and 1 Too Many Hits nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Omega Sentinel. The basic idea here is that Omega Sentinel being immune to Nullify means that Power Snack can never trigger, or at least that's how it's supposed to work, but apparently that immunity doesn't kick in at the very start of the fight, so I lost Odin's Aptitude pre-fight, and Apocalypse here gained a bunch of power to start the fight with. Now it's not a big deal here, but it is pretty annoying. So now I'm basically just gonna be building up my special 3, then making sure Apocalypse doesn't have a bar of power or close to it, and then just make sure that I don't have a power sting on me, drop the special 3 for the plasma debuffs, and then all I need to do is just keep them paused by either doing heavy attacks or normal combos finishing on a light attack. That is all there really is to this fight, nothing special. There really isn't any risk of dying here either. The flourishes can get annoying and you will take some cheap damage if you're not fully dexing the special ones, but even if you do get clipped, there is Omega Sentinel's safety net with the auto block. So yeah, I can't see anyone die into this matchup with Omega Sentinel. Now I'm at my special 3, I removed the flourish buffs, and then I just go ahead and drop the special 3. Now if this pushes Apocalypse to a special 1, I will take power sting damage, because that's for some reason how the node works. Right there, he was pushed to a special 1 with my special 3, which then triggered the power sting, and since it happened all at the same time, for whatever reason, that also triggers the power sting damage, which I don't think it should happen, but it does, and yeah, it just means I have to use a potion later, but yeah, it's not a big deal, but it is an issue and it is annoying to deal with. Next up we have an Annihilus on the superior specials and prowess build up unblockable nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Absorbing Man starting in the Uru form. Reason for that is because Annihilus deals physical damage on his basic attacks, which allows me to just block him freely all I want, which does actually help in this fight. Getting the Stifle debuffs means that I trigger an unstoppable buff on Annihilus whenever I dash back, and that allows me to feed MD as well as to pause Absorbing Man's forms. So if for whatever reason I can't keep it paused myself, all I need to do is just block attacks, and he's gonna try to armor break me, which already pauses the forms, and then I can just dex, get to my special 1 with MD, and that's about it. Now I did make a small mistake there and ate a special 1. Luckily I still had the invulnerability boost up, because the last hit of that special 1 is energy based. So with 200% prowess and no resistance to energy damage here, that could have dealt a nice chunk of damage. I don't think it would have finished me off, but I didn't want to find out what would have happened. Now that was a pretty fast fight, but it could have been faster. I need to do the heavy chain into specials more often. Then we have a Scorpion on the prowess build up unblockable and hard knock life nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Omega Sentinel, starting with the heal block debuff mode active. The basic game plan here is to just hit him until he dies, without actually landing any parries myself, so I don't get the disorients on me. I will try to get my armor ups up as soon as possible to get that auto block safety net, because that will help you out in case Scorpion evades. If he triggers his counter evade and Omega Sentinel has her 10 armor ups active, the counter hit will trigger the auto block and will parry stun Scorpion, giving you a free opening, and that's awesome. You will not get comboed afterwards, so this makes the fight a lot safer than it would be with normal champions. Omega Sentinel also doesn't take any damage from poisons, so if you do get some on you one way or another, you're not gonna take any damage from them, and when you use specials, you won't take the sting damage then either, because the sting damage that Scorpion deals is always the same damage, or rather same damage type as the sting debuff itself. So with Rupture debuff, the burst of damage you take when you use a special is Rupture damage as well, which is physical. In this case it was poison, so whenever you use a special you take a chunk of poison damage. But once again, Omega Sentinel not taking any damage from poisons, it will only trigger her regeneration ability, and that's about it. Next up we have a Rintrah on the Ebb and Flow Intercept and Mighty Charge nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Absorbing Man. Now the game plan here is to basically just hit him until he dies. Once again, that is all you really need to do against the Rintrah. I'm gonna be baiting special ones and heavy attacks here and there and punishing them with my heavy to make sure that his charges stay low so that he doesn't really do anything too annoying. Absorbing Man isn't really the greatest option for this guy, but you don't really need a counter for him. As long as you don't trigger buffs constantly, you'll be fine, as long as you just keep knocking him down. I will do my best here to keep my form up and refined, spamming special ones, triggering those vulnerabilities. I will also try to get the intercepts in as often as possible to keep the protection down as well. Also, this fight wasn't necessarily assigned to me, it was either me or some other member of my battle group with, I believe, Titania, but since they were clearing a lot later, I figured that since I have my boosts running, I might as well take it now. And to my surprise, Absorbing Man does this fight pretty fast as well. Probably not as fast as Titania since, well, class advantage and all that, but this is still not bad. It has been a minute and a half almost, but Rintrah is down to basically 10% at this point. So yeah, Absorbing Man against Rintrah works very well. Gonna keep that in mind for BGs later on. Then we have the final fight of this war, a Longshot on the Conflictor miniboss node, and I'm taking this fight with Omega Sentinel, starting with the heal block debuff mode active. Now I went ahead and put on full recoil masteries, so that I hit harder. It's not really necessary, but I don't wanna stay in this fight too long. The game plan is to basically just use the White Magneto pre-fight's passive stun to land my parries, and then I'm doing medium light combos to get my special 3. After that, all I need to do is trigger Conflictor, make sure Longshot doesn't have too much power, so that he doesn't get the special 3, then just drop the special 3 for the Incinerate debuffs. After that, just parry heavy to keep them paused, and that is the fight. Omega Sentinel is immune to both Nullify and Fate Seal, so the special 1, or rather the special 2, doesn't trigger the Incinerates, meaning Omega Sentinel is very safe for this. The special 1 also deals instant bleed damage, and that shouldn't affect Omega Sentinel either, since she doesn't take any damage from bleed, the same as poison against that Scorpion earlier. So basically, the biggest risk here is eating a special 3, but as long as you just keep baiting the special 1, special 2s over and over again, and not dexing them, but blocking them instead, so MD isn't a problem, this fight is very simple. And Well, it's not the fastest option once again, but she does work very well. You will take some chip damage if you're baiting special 2s due to the small incinerate debuff that you get, but that's not a big deal. As long as you just don't eat hits, you will survive, and Longshot falls without too many issues. So that's my war this time around. As for the results, we did end up winning the war quite easily, 14-4, but 4 deaths from us was not great. We didn't play nearly as well as we should have.